Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Sabrina Ritchie. Mrs. Sabrina, how are you doing, ma?
I am doing very well. And yourself?
I'm fine. Thank you very much. And also, thank you for the time and the opportunity, Mrs. Sabrina. Firstly, you are an author. You are also a wellness coach. Can you please, Mrs. Sabrina, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mrs. Sabrina?
Sure. So I am a dual certified nurse practitioner, and I started a practice called Thoughtful Therapies, which is a virtual mental health practice that helps adults right now through Massachusetts and Connecticut, with more states coming. I practice more integrative mental health. I found that more and more people, rightfully so, are looking for a whole body approach. Your mind is not separate from your body. So it's doing a disservice to only treat your mind without addressing what's going on with the body. Often, what's going on with your body is affecting your mind and vice versa. So that's how I want to practice and believe people deserve treatment to be. And I then wrote a book called Restoring Calm because many individuals, especially nowadays, in what we coined the term hustle culture, we are stressed out to the max. We are having high levels of anxiety and we are getting burnt out. So, my book, Restoring Calm, is a guide to help identify what's the difference between stress, anxiety, burnout, and how to treat each one of those.
And I also absolutely agree with you. The mind and the body are definitely working hand in hand. And that is why if the body is having issue and the mind is okay, there will be issues. We'll feel the sickness. And also if the mind is not settled and the body is fine, there will definitely be issues. They work hand in hand. And that is what we definitely understand. And definitely the world that we are into, which is the burnout and also stress, a lot of stress are happening in our time today, is definitely very needed for people to know how they could restore their calm, how they could find ways they can try their best to definitely calm themselves so that they can live a more fulfilled life. And that is why I also want you to dive more on your book, Restoring Calm. Please, Mrs. Sabrina, can you discuss more on that book? And do you also have more books you are planning to write in the coming future, Mrs. Sabrina?
I do. So I'm still parsing through which topics I'm actually going to tackle through first, but there are many, unfortunately, that need to be addressed. And what I try to do with this first book and whatever comes next is to not have a lot of fluff, for lack of a better term. So it is a very short, direct book with tools to help gauge where you're at with different levels of stress or anxiety. And it also helps in the sense that if you do start to employ some of the techniques that are discussed in the book, then you can actually go back and redo those tools and see if there's been improvement.
Yes, totally agree. Thank you so much for the book and also the insight regarding the book, which is something that we definitely need in our time today, which is a life that is being stressed out and a lot of burnout in our time today. And learning one or two things to help one another to definitely calm oneself and also become a better person is very needed. And that is why I would like you to
Mhm.
dive through the point of stress and burnout. A lot of people usually confuse it. Stress is probably like more of like the same, but stress is probably more might be probably different with burnout. So more people confuse it. How do you think you can define burnout, and how do you think is also different in everyday stress, Mrs. Sabrina?
Absolutely. So, stress, anxiety, and burnout are definitely different levels. Many have a misconception that any level of stress or anxiety is bad, but that is indeed not true. We it's good, it's healthy to have some level of stress and anxiety. It kind of keeps you on your toes. It has this level of being alert while still being able to make quick decisions. It becomes more difficult when you have chronic stress and chronic levels of anxiety that are keeping you in that heightened state. And that is what causes the dysregulation. So your body doesn't have that recovery time to really get back down to its baseline where it should. And when you have that chronic dysregulation, that's what slowly leads you into burnout. So some of the techniques that you can do to determine whether or not you're experiencing stress and anxiety versus burnout is more of a it's not just I'm tired or I didn't get a good night of sleep. It's that I'm waking up exhausted regardless of whether or not I got a good night of sleep. Does that make sense?
Definitely. And I definitely love what you said earlier. At some point in life, we'll definitely need to face stress. We'll definitely need to face anxiety. But now it's not go to our own point and our own choice to know how we can manage it. We have to definitely know how we could walk through it and also know how we could recover and restore that calm that we definitely need. Because we definitely know that the world that we are will definitely have a lot of anxiety and stress. But how are we going to definitely navigate and also help ourselves to become a better person and have this kind of calmness so that we can have this kind of honest life and also this kind of peaceful life is definitely right in our hand. And that is why I also like to you to give us probably what you see as the difference with something that is truly nourishing one or something that is definitely distracting them to cause this sense of stress or probably burnout, Mrs. Sabrina. So how do you think someone can tell the difference between something that is truly nourishing them versus something that is probably numbing or distracting them, Mrs. Sabrina?
That is an excellent point because many people can uh, misinterpret what I call self-care as it is not self-care, it would be a distraction. So self-care versus a distraction, say somebody binge watches their favorite television or scrolls through their phone. It might feel good in the moment because you're not thinking of what's bothering you, or you're able to go on about your day. The thing is with those, they feel good in the moment, but it doesn't help later on. That problem's still there. It's not getting addressed versus something that is self-care like journaling or therapy. Those kinds of techniques, even though they may feel uncomfortable or not helpful in the moment, in time, those improve your levels of stress and anxiety.
And that is why we definitely need to condemn things like people using drug or people using medicine to definitely reduce a lot of things in their body. That is a very good point. We definitely need to do it in the right way. As you said earlier, it might not be comfortable for us, but that is the right way we need to do it. As you said, journaling and doing some natural things that will definitely help us restore that calm and also make us to be back confident. We have to gradually heal those pain. Pain does not really burn out or stress does not really just evaporate, just clean up like that. It definitely takes time, and we have to get some things that we have to do to definitely heal it. If we definitely use some substances or some medicine or some stuff like that to definitely reduce it, it doesn't clean or it doesn't eradicate that problem. The problem will still be there, and that is why we have to do it in the right way. And also, I would also like to dive to where one can definitely set these boundaries to protect their mental health because there have to be boundaries because if there is no boundaries, then we definitely need to just get to the point whereby we'll having stress, we'll be having more burnout. How can we try our best to set these boundaries? So, what do you think, in your own perspective and your own experience you've had in the recent years, some practical ways to set all these boundaries to protect their mental health, especially for those who feel guilty or who are probably afraid to say no, Mrs. Sabrina?
This comes up a lot in many different ways and areas of life. There can be boundary setting. One, for example, with individuals, friends, family, it's that constant need to say yes when somebody asks you for something. It's that people pleasing and the guilt that comes with saying no for fear that that person might view you differently or think differently of you. But indeed, you're not hurting that other person. You're just setting boundaries for your own mental health. I mean, if you're constantly saying yes, but it's at a detriment to yourself, that's not good. You're going to constantly burn yourself out. The other area, think of it more as like a filter. You're still having these relationships, but you're only allowing certain things to come through. Many people misconstrue setting boundaries with building a wall, and you're completely cutting people off, which It should not be. You just are filtering through what is healthy for you and what you can handle. You shouldn't be taking on more than you can handle.
Yes, we have to definitely be thinking of ourselves first. We have to put ourselves first in some circumstances. As you said earlier, there are some situations in life, definitely, it might look painful, but we have to definitely say yes or probably even say no to such situation because we definitely know how it will affect us, even our health in a very large way. We have to check if we are definitely available, if we are definitely strong enough to do some certain things. We have to definitely be sure. Definitely, we'll definitely know if we are strong enough to do some certain things. Definitely, we have to know because we so that we won't get to a point whereby we'll have this kind of stress and burnout. We have to know how to set those boundaries personally. And as you said earlier, the only way we can just set it is what we know is coming right at the front of us. We have to know what we should decide to do or what we should not decide to do. And that is the only way we can definitely manage those stress and also try our best to set those boundaries so that we won't get to a point whereby we feel a lot of stress and burnout that could definitely be affecting the mind, be affecting the body, and a lot of things will not just get through its right path. We don't want that. We all don't want that. And we definitely need to work on that. And also, that is why I would also like to dive to the point of rest, Mrs. Sabrina. We all know rest is definitely necessary and important. Even the doctors will say you have to rest for 8 hours. You understand? Like 8 hours is the time of rest. So, is your personal take on rest, Mrs. Sabrina? Not just probably as recovery, but as a necessary and productive part of life, Mrs. Sabrina.
Yes. So that is such a good segue into rest. And I just want to touch base on the boundaries. It doesn't always have to be a concrete no. Say somebody asks you to get together, but you are feeling emotionally just exhausted from your day. You've worked, you've woken up early, you've had a long day, you've done a lot of tasks, and you don't have any more to give for that day. If somebody asks you to get together, it doesn't have to be a concrete no. It could be no, not at this time, but you know what? I have time later on. So that kind of eases people's um, apprehension towards setting the boundaries because there are other options. It doesn't always have to be a concrete no. So getting into rest. This is wonderful. I am a huge proponent for sleep hygiene and setting yourself up so you have your body in a relaxed state by the time you get to bed. People misconstrue sleep for rest. If you can sleep 8 hours and wake up and feel like you got 2 hours, um, that's not restorative. Prepping your body, I mean, sleep hygiene is in the sense of you're doing some relaxation techniques or you're dimming the lights before you're going to bed. You're having a cool, calm bedroom to go to. You don't have a lot of screen time, or if you can't cut out the screen time, if you like to watch a show or you're on your phone, I try to say to use some blue light blocking glasses or utilize your phone in a different way. Instead of scrolling, put on some audiobook or some white noise or a guided imagery for meditative purposes before you go to bed. The other thing is having a morning routine after you wake up. So you're not just waking up, either staying in bed or rushing as soon as you get out of bed. You have to have a nice routine to not only get to bed, but wake up.
Ah, I am also definitely probably part of one of these because sometimes we always feel like we sleep. And even I myself, I usually have this situation. Sometimes I will just sleep in the night and wake up in the morning and to not even look as if I actually sleep. And that is why we definitely need things like this. Rest can be defined in different way, but we can definitely rest in different ways. We can definitely, as you said, listen to audiobook, just having that kind of sitting down in probably in a place and having this kind of gentle soul and everything is even another type of rest. It restores a lot of things in us. It helps us a lot. And listening to some audiobook and also some areas that you've also passed through to definitely help one to definitely work on themselves. So it might not be probably someone to just sleep. Someone can just sleep, wake up, then have some kind of morning routine that one can be doing again. All those type of things are also type of things that definitely help that our mind to definitely bring back that calm. Because even I myself, I am because I usually have the situation whereby I will have some things in my mind, I will sleep, I'll wake up, and that thing will still be in my mind. And that is how it is.
Yeah.
We have to definitely work on ourselves to definitely see how we could get the sense of resting. There's another perspective in, as you said, getting this kind of sitting down in a calm place, listening to audiobook and other things, and also some areas whereby one can wake up, have some kind of morning routine that will definitely help that body in a very large way. Is definitely very helpful.
Oh, so sorry. You touched upon something that is very common for people, and that is when you go to bed, when your head hits that pillow, your mind starts to race and starts to think about all these things from the day, worries about tomorrow. And the reasoning for that is because usually you're pushing through and doing so much during the day that these thoughts, these emotions, they're not getting time to be processed through the day. So at night, when everything is calm and your head hits the pillow, now your nervous system wants to process those things. And what do we want to do? We just want to get to sleep. We don't want to address things at bedtime. So we either sit there for hours and still not process, and then it perpetuates. So one thing people can do is to journal before bed. A technique I love is brain dumping. So you're not necessarily thinking about what you're writing down, but you are writing down everything that pops into your head. I have people set timers 5 minutes, 10 minutes to start, and anything and everything that pops into your head, you write it down. And then you come back to it later and read through. And some of the things are these fleeting thoughts that we pay no mind, but really need to get addressed and processed through.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Sabrina, for that beautiful insight. Thank you so much. And that is definitely what is definitely happening most of the time. We have to definitely try our best to process this thing and before we definitely get to this kind of sleeping, because that is why sometimes when we want to sleep, we haven't processed those things. So 1 hour will go, 2 hour will go, we won't sleep. The sleep will not just come. Those things will just definitely be coming up and we have to process it. We have to work on it so that we can definitely get that calmness to definitely have a very nice rest and sleep in the night. So thank you so much for that insight. And also, some people are in this world currently now, they have gotten to a point whereby they are burned out. They feel like they could not get to a point whereby they could be restored again. They are getting to a point whereby they feel like they can't even feel better anymore because it is just too much on them. So, what would you say from your personal perspective to someone who probably feels like burnout has become their new normal, that they've gone too far, um, too gone, and also to feel better, Mrs. Sabrina?
Yes, this is common. And we often get to the state of burnout without realizing it until we're in it because we have overextended ourselves and we have been under supported for so long. But the great news is you can always reverse it. You just have to go back to foundationally rebuilding the blocks. And when I say blocks, I mean the sleep, the diet, the nervous system. It it all plays a factor. You can't just address one without the others. It just won't fix anything. So you small steps. Don't do a complete overhaul. It rarely works. So one small step implemented each day compounds, and slowly you will get better. Many people just want this 180 complete turnaround in a very short amount of time, but burnout doesn't, you don't get into burnout in a very short amount of time. It's going to take some time to get out of. So, really regulating those blood sugars, your diet. I'm not sure. I mean, as Americans, we have a very highly processed and high in refined sugar diet, which does not bode well for mental health. That is one big area that once someone starts to change, they really notice the changes in their mental health and their gut. It's all connected. There's a gut brain axis. If we're eating bad food, often we're not thinking very well or clearly, and that impacts mental health and anxiety and depression. And I see it very frequently.
Definitely, we definitely need to work on those areas because if we definitely work on those areas to definitely help our burnout. And said, I love what you said earlier. We definitely do not probably realize we are into that state of burnout. It is when it gets to a time that we will not realize that it seems I'm getting too pressured. I don't sleep early. It takes time before I sleep. Those things start to come out, and it has been there since. So we definitely have to take it step by step, a bit by bit. There is nothing that can come once. It's definitely something that cannot just be healed once and for all. It's something that have to be done daily. We could definitely take a routine that we can be doing every single day to definitely help us to restore that strength that we have lost a long time ago. If we can do that bit by bit, it could take 30 days, 60 days, it could take a long time, but we'll definitely see that development till we get to a point. And we have to be aware that we need to set that boundaries. That boundaries has to be there so that we won't go back to that point anymore. So we have to definitely set that boundaries, take the step, continue to heal gradually and gradually and gradually every single day. Just little things we could definitely do to restore ourselves. Then when we get to that point, then we'll definitely know how we could manage and maintain to definitely know how we could protect ourselves to not go back to that point anymore. We definitely hope that we definitely have this kind of restoring calm and also build out the strength. So there is definitely nothing that cannot be solved. We could definitely have a lot of things right at the front of us, but there's definitely something that can be solved. We could definitely solve a kind of burnout or stress that we're definitely um having. It starts from us. It starts from how we want to do it and how we definitely are strong enough to be more patient to definitely solve it. And I also like to dive to your book, Restoring Calm, Mrs. Sabrina. What do you think is the core message from your book that you hope listeners can definitely carry with them in their everyday life, Mrs. Sabrina?
So I think that the core message is your symptoms are not random. They are a message to you, and we need to start listening to our bodies instead of reasoning away symptoms until they become too much, which is often when I see people. People believe that they don't need to seek help until it becomes too late and everything becomes unbearable. But if we can start to address things before it gets to that point, a lot of people would be in much better places. Um, I think today's society really rewards people for taking on a lot. Again, I say it's hustle culture. If you ask for help in some way, people are self-critical and think that they're failing or they're weak and they should be able to handle all this. And I was one of them. I took on so much and ended up in burnout, hence why I wrote the book, because there's so many people that do. I felt like I had to do it all, and you don't, and you shouldn't. And you really need to reach out to those supports around you, delegate where you can. Don't feel like you need to put on this mask for the rest of everybody else, where they're saying, oh my gosh, you're amazing, you do so much. But internally, you are completely unraveling and thinking to yourself, if they only knew, it's going to come crashing down at some point.
Yes, we have to definitely learn. And the only way that can definitely also happen is when we have gotten to a point whereby we are now recovering, we're getting that strength, and we have the sense of calmness. When we have the sense of calmness, I think everything will start to go through and pass through the right path. And we'll definitely know how we could reach out to people because in this life that we are, it's tough. And a lot of things now, even the social media even made this more tougher. And that is why we have to definitely know how we could reach out, speak to people, go out to people, and definitely people will definitely respond. Definitely people will throw stones at one. People will definitely say some words, but there are some people out there that will definitely see it and they will definitely be touched and they will definitely want to definitely do one or two things that will definitely help one way or the other. And that is how this world is being programmed. We have to definitely work on ourselves. We shouldn't get to a point whereby we are being burned out or we are being in a point of stress. We have to definitely see what we definitely work for us, and definitely we can definitely try our best to reach out, see how we could become a better person regarding reaching out, and also working with people to definitely see how one can grow together. And that is why I'm definitely glad with you. And even writing a beautiful book shows that you definitely want people to be aware and also learn how they could definitely recover from the issues or from the ups and downs regarding burnouts and stress that they could be having in their life today. I would definitely hope that the world heals and every single person go back to that time, that time where everybody are just calm, everybody are just kind. When there's calmness, there's kindness, there's humility, there's everything just starts coming and nature starts to be blessed. I
Yeah.
would definitely hope we get that. Mrs. Sabrina, there's a question I love Mali asked during the end of the show. From our forefathers, from our ancestors, there are a lot of things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, Mrs. Sabrina, what do you think that thing will be, Mrs. Sabrina?
That is such a wonderful question. And it is so true. And it's a point that I was actually going to touch upon before we had ended because today's society is not how our is it's not what our nervous systems were built for. And it's what's leading to these chronic states of stress and heightened levels of alertness day to day. The simplicity, we are missing simplicity and being in the moment and being okay with being still. So much is taken away from us when we feel that a moment of calmness or nothing to do needs to get filled with something. I'm sure many people listening have felt this, but I think that we need to start being okay with quiet and being in the moment. So if you can, take some time, even if it's a minute or two, to just enjoy, go outside for just a few moments. And one technique I actually help with people who need to calm is to list three things you hear, three things you see, and three things you feel. And if you can do those in just a few moments, I hope you can have a sense of calm.
Yes. I feel like it's just like a pandemic. It is just everywhere. Even I myself, I'm facing it. It's definitely something that we definitely need to work on. Our body is a body that is being connected with nature. Nature is what we are connected to. These things that we're seeing around us, we are not really, it's not really connected to nature. I think that is the issue. So we have to definitely
Yeah,
spend time to try our best to connect with that breeze. I think that is one of the things that will definitely help us to even restore a lot of strength in us. We see, that grace and everything will just start to come in and we see that body changes. And that is why we definitely need to spend some time at times to definitely just see our nature, those birds that are flying, everything to just come into ourselves and definitely connect with it. Is something we definitely need. I have to be honest with every single brother that's listening now. It's something we definitely need. It's very important for us to learn how to connect with nature, to see how we could live a life of simplicity. We have definitely lose a lot from our forefathers and our ancestors. It's something that is really
yeah,
affecting us now, and we definitely hope
yeah,
that it definitely comes back. We need it, and I believe that in the future I might not be alive, but I believe that it will definitely come back because it's something we really need. It's something we really need
yeah,
so that we can definitely live this kind of bitterness, this kind of kindness, this kind of humility, this kind of love, and most especially respect within one another, no matter the background we find ourselves. And also, I want to sincerely thank you for the time and the opportunity on speaking on one of the most important topics in our time today. Stress and burnout is everywhere. It is everywhere,
yeah.
something that most people are facing today. And I sincerely thank you for the time and the opportunity, and also trying your best to bring out a book to definitely let people to also learn and also be inspired in one way or the other. Thank you so much, Mr. Sabrina.
Thank you. I truly am honored for this opportunity. And if my book can help just one person, either going into or coming out of burnout, I'm grateful.
Mm.
So Thank you.
Definitely. Definitely, Mrs. Sabrina. Have a wonderful day, Mrs. Sabrina. Bye bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye.